So I think, well, I think we're now streaming. Okay, so it's happening. Please welcome. I have Wazza with me,
Hello.
and there's always the problem that happens here is that I can hear myself twice. So, but that's okay. We'll get it sorted. So, hello, Waz. How you going?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm just going to copy this and put it up on Facebook so people can join in our fun in lockdown. What's on your mind? Our mind is YouTube. So I've done that now. Okay, and I should even be able to see comments here if people chat. So I might bring that all closer. Oh, I've got too many windows all over the place and not enough time. Let me put that over there. Let me put that there. Let me put that there. All right. So we are streaming. Are you scared?
No, I don't think so.
No, fair enough. So you are in lockdown. What happened?
Well, I was part of the crew on The Masked Singer, and unfortunately, some of the people on that show ended up getting COVID, and they had to shut down the production. And then I think there are a lot of people going, well, why were you in production? Well, we had started production, so part of the policy was that if you were in production, you could finish production, and basically because all the wheels are turning in production. So to put the brakes on it basically is a big problem because it's an enormous loss to a production company to stop everything. And so if you're in production, you could continue. So we were going along really well, actually, and we were scheduled to film our last show. Basically, we'd got through everything and we had all a proper COVID policy in place and everything.
Yeah.
We got to the last show, and then that's when, unfortunately, someone had tested positive to COVID, and so the production had to be shut down. So, which is, in some ways, it was frustrating because we were so close. In another way, it's good because it's for the safety of everyone. So
now, when you say you were so close, who were you so close with to cause the problem?
I wasn't close with anyone. Pretty much, 99% of all the production people were all okay. So
okay, you don't have to name names. It's okay. It was probably those. Somebody in the production staff. Let's.
No, well, there was, yeah. Unfortunately, obviously,
I'm trying to protect the people.
I don't actually know, but everyone's completed all their testing and isolation, and while I think. My personal point of view is that it is doing 14 days of quarantine is a bit of a slog, but it's for the greater good. So you just go, well, it just has to be done. So
so how many days now?
For me is I still get confused what day it is because it does tend to morph into one. What day is it? Thursday?
Yeah, it's a bit like that for everyone. Don't worry, you're not alone there. So yeah, it's Thursday today.
I've got 2 days left.
2 days, right? Scary. Okay, so what have the days been like for you? Talk us through the days.
Well, I think early on, I probably could have made more use of my time, actually, because I'm not at home. I'm staying at another place, so I don't have any of my stuff here. So I sort of felt a little bit at a loose end. I have had some work to go on with producing some other content and working with other clients, doing some taxation stuff, working on a website. So, but I must admit, I think I probably feel like, yeah, you kind of do take your foot off the pedal a little bit, just because you're like, wow, you know, I actually don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to, you know, and I'm just here by myself. So, yeah, I think you kind of, you know, you do take your foot off the pedal a little bit because you're like, well, I've got to just get through 14 days. And then early on, I sort of was, you know, I'd kind of get up and go through the, you know, have the shower, have a coffee, have some breakfast, get on the computer, do some stuff, have a break, go outside, try and get some fresh air, you know.
So that nothing has changed from normal life with you and your wife and the kids?
Not a lot. It just when I'm kind of here by myself, you still kind of get to that end of the day and you're like, what am I going to make for dinner? You know, watch the news. That's kind of, I think I've probably, and then I did start to learn the piano, and I haven't gone back to it because I've kind of got busy, and then I just needed something to get me outside to do something, so I've started cleaning the driveway.
Sounds exciting to me.
It's very exciting. So I've nearly finished cleaning the driveway, and I should have done more piano practice actually, because I was enjoying it, but I've just sort of, strangely enough, I'm like, well, have I lost? I seem to have lost some time, but yeah. So,
how far did you get with the piano?
Oh, I just, you know, well, I've never played piano, but
I didn't know you couldn't play.
No, but I know, well, I can't. But there's a piano here, and I was just like, well, I've never really thought about playing the piano. So I just sort of, you know, got on YouTube, looked at a few videos, and went and practiced for a bit, and it was quite good actually. But I haven't got back on there for about the last couple of days because I sort of end up getting busy with other things. So, but you know, I think if I had of, I think the other thing was because early on I didn't think that I was going to be here for 14 days. So that was probably the other thing, because initially we were told it was going to be 48 hours. So it was like 48 hours. And I was like, all right, well, yeah. I was like, you know, I was a little bit like Marty McFly. I think I was like, yeah, 1954, I can hang out here for a week, you know, or whatever. But it was 48 hours. And then after 48 hours, they said it was going to be another 24. And I'm like, oh, all right, another 24. And then it was like another 24. And then I was like, I'm starting to get a feeling. And then it was like, no, you've got to do the 14 days. And then, so probably I'd already done, 4 days in, thinking I was going to be out, but then I wasn't. So I sort of was like, oh, okay.
So suddenly you're like, this is heavy.
Well, I just went, oh, well, now I've kind of got to, okay, I've just got to strap myself in for the long run, because I think because I thought it was 48, then I thought it was 24, then I thought it was 24, I hadn't unpacked anything. I thought, I'm only here for a couple of days. I'll be home. So there's no point in me settling in. Or
So how many clothes did you take? Clothes with you?
Well, no, I didn't. I actually came straight from the job, so I didn't have any clothes. So, but yeah, luckily my wife dropped some clothes over to me. So,
okay, I was just going to say that's why you were starting to learn the piano, so you had something to kind of sit behind.
Yeah, that's right. But no, I think, and then I think because I wasn't prepared for the long haul, you just end up going, all right, well, I might, watch a bit of telly. And so that's I watched the whole history of Nixon, and then I watched the history of computer gaming, and it's a whole bunch of docos that I've been watching, and that's kind of about it. I just kind of got hooked on those and watched those, and
So talk to me about computer gaming. What's the history of that? Because I'm sure lots of people are just playing games.
Oh, well, no, it's actually quite interesting because it's called, sort of on Netflix, called High Score. So it just charts the very beginning of gaming. And it kind of goes right through, um, you know, basically from Pong, Pac-Man, the start, like Atari, through to Nintendo, through to Sega, through to PC-based games like Doom, and how each one of those kind of areas of gaming came about, which was amazing, really, really, and how so much of that kind of started in Japan, but a lot of the key people also from the US and the UK. So, but it was really, really interesting to see how it all started, and just to see that it was this tiny little thing, a handful of people that kind of got interested in coding and making these games to whatever it is now, the multi-billion-dollar industry, bigger than the music and the film industry put together.
So did something like LucasArts get a mention?
No, because they came in later. This was really about the people who really kicked the whole thing off. So,
okay,
yeah.
I thought maybe we'd get a Monkey Island reference or something like that, and leading to Star Wars. But
No, it's all Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog, Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Doom, all those really, really early games, and then just that whole thing with, chasing, going from 8-bit to 16-bit, chasing better resolution, better graphics. And the people who figured that out was all just through coding, all really, really young guys just that were interested in coding and not having a lot of experience. Just it was really like a hobby that became something,
because it's really a whole different realm to the whole creation of the computer, where you've got your IBM and Apple kind of competing, with Microsoft obviously coming into the mix. But this is a whole bunch of different people coding probably in a different way, that's much simpler than even PCs could necessarily do back then.
Yeah, well, the guys who created Doom, that was the beginning of the first-person point of view, the shooter type game. That was, because that whole thing of having that perspective, that kind of 3D perspective walking through space, prior to that, really, that Doom and Star Fox from Nintendo kind of came out around the same time, but yeah, everything was like a platform. It was all 2D, scrolling side screen. So the whole 3D kind of point of view, moving through space, that was, huge to figure that out from a coding point of view. And also with Doom, the thing that was huge about that was that you could do multiplayer. So they had to figure that code out where you could go online on the internet and play with someone else,
So in terms of something like the Commodore 64, which wasn't just the console,
Mm-hmm.
it was also essentially a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm trying to think if any of that had that Doom style. It was still probably more 2D graphics. I'm trying to remember if there was anything I played that would have been 3D. Like they had racing games, but even then it was presented as a car at the bottom of frame.
Did you have the disk drive for your Commodore 64?
The tape drive?
No, the disk drive, like a floppy disk drive.
No.
We had the floppy disk drive. Oh,
Wow.
I know. That was
I'm
impressive.
impressed. Well, no, we couldn't afford that.
That was like,
It,
wow.
yeah, no, for us it was put the cassette in, hit load, hit ready to go, press play on the tape, and it would actually play the code
I was in.
in, and you'd wait 20 minutes to play a very simple game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we had a Commodore 60, and strangely enough, and this was the only time I've ever really done any coding, I got into coding and I created,
On the Commodore 64.
yeah,
Yeah.
created my own game.
Now, was this using like, because I remember they had the book and you had like all the little bits and pieces that you could put in?
Well, it was I studied this book on coding, and basically what happened is you learnt how to code, and then you could they could give you like a base code, and you could enter the code and create it, but it had variables, so you could kind of change things.
Okay, so when you say variables, it was like the if and or not commands of
Yeah, you
even like a computer chip.
kind of change certain things about the code. So yeah, so I kind of did that, and I remember at the time thinking, oh yeah, that was all right. And then I made this game with that, reading that code, putting that code in, and making it work, and it was pretty simple. But that's about the only time I've ever done any coding. But I'm like,
Yeah, well,
what didn't I do? Why didn't I learn more coding?
oh yeah, well that's where the money is these days.
Wow.
I was watching. I spoke to you about this earlier, but I was watching a behind the scenes of The Hobbit, where they're um, obviously doing a lot of 3D rendering. And one of the guys' job, like the Matrix, is to sit there and just watch the code go through.
I was just looking for any anomalies.
I have no idea what he's looking for. A life, perhaps.
Totally like the, he's totally like the Matrix.
It was bizarre, like literally sitting there watching numbers go past.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I should have paid more attention in computer studies,
Yeah, but I did. I can't remember even now what it was called, but it was like a year 10 class on computer studies, and I found it dull and boring then. Like
It was
even
all
what you
so
could
much about
create.
data entry, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was about
yeah,
data,
it was.
and it wasn't about. There was nothing that I learned at school was anything about gaming or anything kind of cool. It was just.
No, and that goes across the board.
Well, I just remember this was, like what could have, I guess, I remember two things about computer studies. One, I figured out that the computers were networked, so you could send people on the other side of the classroom rude words, figure out what station they were at, send them a message. And two, someone had developed this basically some code, figured out this code, which was like a random pattern. And that was kind of cool. And then I remember looking at that code and then adjusting that code. So basically you could make things bounce around and change color and move and do things. And it was essentially a random pattern of colors and movements that you could create on the screen. And I remember thinking, well, that was really creative, something that wasn't. I think the thing is, it was everything was kind of so driven by that kind of data entry stuff. It was like, it just didn't seem to be any real joy in it. It just seemed like such a manual job, and it wasn't so much about coding. It was about, the storing of business information, and you're like, yeah, I don't know if that's for me. But I think later on, when understanding that, that you could create code and build other things was kind of happened after for me. Not, I wasn't at school then when it was like, and I guess the other thing is that didn't ever really feel like, there was a lot of that stuff that was accessible growing up in Australia. It all kind of seemed to happen, in the US or Japan sort of thing. So just didn't seem like an industry that we were, sort of involved in or at the forefront.
Yeah, to see a future for it would have been hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I think not having that exposure to it, not knowing anyone in it, not really knowing a lot about it, only just knowing about, well, there was from a gaming point of view anyway, and any it was kind of really long before video graphics were, with special effects or anything. But, there was Nintendo, and then there was Atari, and Sega, and stuff on PC. But it was, it just didn't seem to be relevant to growing and living in Australia,
It's funny because we had the Commodore 64, which was just essentially for playing games, as far as I could tell.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It was a compute. You could do stuff with it.
Yeah.
You could actually do stuff with it. But yeah, everyone just used it to play games.
But what Dad ended up getting was not only did he get a keyboard, we'll do some props. So so he bought a keyboard that was far more expensive than this one. This is a very cheap one. This is really just about inputting notes via MIDI. So MIDI control. I don't know how much you know about MIDI control.
A little bit, but yeah.
So a keyboard like this is just about MIDI control. The keyboard that he had was not only about MIDI control, but it could play, I think it could play 6 instruments plus drums at the same time.
Wow.
Plus and that would play 24 notes at any one time. So across the different instruments that you had, you could only ever play 24 notes at one time, and that included the drums.
Right.
But it didn't have an internal sequencer inside it. You needed to plug it via a MIDI cable into a computer that also had a MIDI input, which the Atari ST did. Okay. And I think this was Atari's kind of foray into the computer that wasn't just a gaming console.
Right.
But it was black and white, genuine black and white monitor.
Yeah.
I can't remember the resolution. Wouldn't have been much compared to today. And you could basically record the musical instruments of a song. You couldn't record any audio, so you couldn't record voices. You could simply record, and you could notate as well. So you could go in and you could edit each of the MIDI instructions and then play back a song. And that was probably one of the earliest computer designed ways to be able to control MIDI that wasn't a actual box that was designed.
Okay.
Yeah, they would have basically sequences, which say the movie Terminator would have used to record, and it would have been very limited editing you could do of the MIDI inputs.
Right.
Very, very technical. But
I don't even know what happened to our Commodore 64, but we had an Atari, and that was in a box. And then we had the Commodore 64, that went into a box. And probably all just got thrown out in the end because, like it becomes old technology and you move on, But I recently found, so Atari released a classic pack, which was like a mini little Atari,
Oh yeah.
2 controls, but it had all the games inbuilt because, of course, every single Atari game now can fit on a chip this big.
Yeah.
But which is, what's that called? Moore's Law.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's where things get quicker and quicker and smaller.
So double every 2 years or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I found that and bought it and brought it home to the kids because that was our very first arcade system, was the Atari 64. You know, with it had that game, those games on it where you were like tanks and planes and Battlefield or something it was called. Anyway, but all those kind of classic Atari games, Pitfall and all sorts of things. Anyway, they're all on there. So I ended up bringing it home for the kids, and I thought, oh, you know, this will be a bit of fun. They probably won't enjoy it that much, but they loved it. All those old,
Yeah.
you know, just very simple. When you look at it now, you know, so simple, the graphics and everything.
I wish I'd kept my Nintendo 64.
Yeah, well, I've still got a Nintendo 64.
Right. And do you have like the rumble packs and the memory packs?
It's got the memory pack. It doesn't have the rumble pack. So I had a Nintendo 64, and then I think I sold that, and then my brother had one, and then when he went to get rid of that, he gave that to me. So I think I've got that one, which the kids play. So they've, in this lockdown, they've never really had a game system. So we got the Nintendo 64 out. So they've been playing Zelda, and they just think it's cutting edge.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
They're enjoying it. They're really enjoying Zelda. So, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, because I remember on the, hang on, which one was it? It was the Nintendo 64 GoldenEye.
GoldenEye. Well, so I don't have GoldenEye, but GoldenEye was one of my favourites.
Yeah. And then the best 4-player game was Mario Kart.
Yeah, which we don't have either. Well, there's only one controller, so I keep saying to them, I should buy another couple of controllers and get Mario Kart, and then, you know, they can all play at once.
Oh, okay. How many you want?
Oh, I need another 3 controllers and Mario Kart.
Right.
So I've got to, you know, I'll have to just go and have a look online and see if I mean, they'll be out there somewhere. So, you know, someone will have Nintendo 64 stuff sitting in a cupboard.
Yeah, well, I would have had for a long time. I can't remember when it got thrown out. Eventually, I kind of went, no, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there's a box somewhere with it. No, I think it's gone.
Yeah. Well, that's it. The only reason that I've still got it is it was all put into a box and then just left in the cupboard with like I kept, you know, an old VHS player. And
oh yeah,
you know, just some of that old technology. It's all just been put in another cupboard and left there, and hasn't been touched. And then that's when it was like, oh, well, we might pull it out, you know. But it all still works, and you know, they've actually really been enjoying it. So it's been fun to watch them actually play Zelda and seeing some of the levels in Zelda and go, oh, I remember that bit. I remember that. And every now and again, they're like, Dad, can you help us get past this bit? You know, we got to get past this dungeon boss. We can't. How do we get the boomerang? You know?
Have you got? You need some like little sock puppets,
Yeah.
and get the kids to talk to each other with that voice. Yeah.
But yeah, so no, it has been. It has been. So it's been good in a sense that you know. Well, look, sure, it's just been sitting there, but it's kind of nice to see stuff get recycled and reused, and I kind of get to the joy of watching them play the games that I've played in the past. You know, which is kind of nice. And they're getting plenty of enjoyment out of it. So yeah, it's been good. But it did. I mean, there are a few games in there. There was Banjo Kazooie, and there were, you know, quite a few other ones. But it did make me go, Oh, and I did go online and have a look at some other Nintendo 64 games, and there were quite a lot of games actually. There were quite a lot.
Yeah, well, I remember that whole system. They did have a heap that came out.
Yeah, it was really big.
Mario Tennis and...
Because what was it up against? I don't know, was there anything really that challenged it when that was really big? I don't know that there was.
I think we were just starting to get the original
The
Sony.
start of the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just checking comments.
I can't even see comments.
Oh no, you probably need to jump on YouTube.
Oh yeah, right.
I can send you the stream if you want to.
And what are the comments saying?
It's just chatting about what PC I'm using, which I'm not. Actually asking if I'm playing any Fall Guys during quarantine, which I'm not. Well, that's a new PlayStation game, I think, but it's probably multi-platform.
Right. No, I haven't been. Well, I think it's it's a bit different being in isolation to just. It's like another level of lockdown,
Yeah.
I can't even leave the house. Well, I mean, I can go into the backyard from now, but I can't actually go anywhere.
So how are you dealing with food?
Well, I just got a big order from Woolies sent over, but it's amazing to see. I mean, they're
How
only,
quickly you consume that?
well, one, I kind of had to think about, all right, I had to plan out that many meals, but I think just, like just going online to order, you need to, because normally we would go to the shop sort of, but you need to give yourself time for that delivery and that order, because like the delivery days, get booked out really quickly, and then produce actually, when you if you take too long, it's like, oh well, strawberries are now out of stock, or this is out of stock, or so obviously there's a lot of people ordering online now. I mean, obviously the demand for it's gone up a lot, so. But yeah, so I mean, that was sort of initially when I got here, I was just having takeaway, and it's funny because when you don't have takeaway for a long time, you're like, oh, geez, takeaway would be nice. But then if you have to have takeaway every single night, you're like, oh, I think I just want a home cooked meal, So
yeah,
it's kind of balance. But yeah, so it's sort of. And again, when you're cooking for one, I'm quite used to cooking for a family. So cooking for one, you kind of got to change all your thinking about how much am I need to actually really cook here, just smaller amounts, and just trying to, and just, trying not to waste food, obviously. So, yeah.
it can take a while to kind of figure that out, actually, because you're just so used to, cooking for so many people.
I'm just so used to cooking for a family. So for 5 of us, and we have a situation where we have, my wife's a vegetarian, my other daughter is a celiac, I'm a carnivore, and so is my son. So we need like a Venn diagram of meals. Where's the crossover between the vegetarian, the carnivore, and the celiac? And somewhere in there is the perfect meal.
I think it's lettuce.
Lettuce.
Lettuce is the crossover.
Yeah. So it's
maybe
always,
a little bit of pasta.
Yeah.
Although celiac's no good.
Yeah, so you have to have gluten-free pasta. But I think, over time we've worked out meals that, we can all have that work for us, and, and everyone's got their own thing. Well, most, I won't eat the carrots, I don't like this, or I don't like that. So there's always something that's challenging. But inevitably, you are kind of, and when you're preparing food, the vegetarian food can't go near obviously anything that's got meat in it. And then a lot of vegetarian stuff might have wheat in it, can't go near anything that's for a celiac. So you end up having like 3 pans on the go to cook one meal just to keep everything separate. So you always creating a lot more washing up, you know.
I do remember a long time ago, I stayed at a place where they had a barbecue, but they were vegetarians. And they were like, now you can't cook any meat on the barbecue. And I was like, well, that's the whole point of a barbecue.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
So we have we need a new barbecue, and actually our barbecue, I think, may have come from the Western Front in the First or Second World War. That's how old it is. It's
right.
It's been beaten and bashed, and it's still going. And I don't know how. In fact, I think the Flintstones may have used that barbecue. That's how old it is, and it's still going. But
you have to get the grinding wheel going to a certain speed.
It's just seriously, you cannot kill the thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's got no knobs on it. It's still working. And anyway,
that's probably how you feel at the moment.
The whole plan has been, I really wanted to get this new barbecue, one of those, you know, the really, really long stainless steel ones.
Well, when you say really long, you're talking like 4 burner, 6 burner.
Oh no, I'm talking about something that's like an outdoor kitchen, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This monster, I've had my eye on. It's a Gasmate one. I mean, they're beautiful, you know. And then when I built the deck in the backyard, I'm like, I'm going to retire the Warhorse, you know, and I will get a nice big barbecue outdoor kitchen there. Which
you don't have to get the flamethrower out to light it.
That's right, you do. Yeah.
You can just go click, 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 grenade.
But, well, so the good thing about that really big barbecue, because if it's a 6 burner, and then it's got separate plates. But for us, you go, well, there's 2 burners and 1 plate for the carnivores. There's 2 burners and 1 plate for the vegetarian, and there's 2 burners and 1 plate for the celiac. So it kind of just separates everything out.
Yeah.
Which some people might go, well, it's a big barbecue. You do need that much space. But when you're cooking different things for different people like that, it makes a lot of sense.
And you can still do dim sims on the end.
Well, that's right.
in the normal kind of stovetop.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, so our barbecue now, I've got like a separate little plate or one of those non-stick things to put down for the vegetarian stuff, and then you just have to work out a system of cooking. So you have to, you know, clean stuff off and then put stuff on it. So when you are cooking with a celiac and a vegetarian and a carnivore, you have to think about the order. And usually, if you've cleaned off the hot plate, you cook the meat last, and you make sure everything's cleaned down. And for a celiac, you can't have any cross-contamination because that can make them quite sick. So you've really got to have double sets of implements as well, because you can't touch something with that and then, hang on a sec. So you have
it's almost like someone's having what's the nut reaction you have?
Like anaphylactic.
Anaphylactic is, sorry, that's what I was thinking of.
Got 1 set of barbecue tools for the carnivores, 1 set of barbecue tools for the celiac, 1 set of barbecue tools for the vegetarian. Now you're starting to get confused, because then you go, right, I've got to turn things over, and then you go, hang on a sec, which ones was I using then? All right, get another set.
Clean them all.
So like washing up time, it's like it's a lot of work. So, you know, compared with now, it's just me, and so, you know, obviously a lot less washing up, but also I'm kind of used to preparing more food for more people. So it is kind of, you know, just trying to go, okay, well, I was sort of preparing meals that I could like freeze some or, you know, have something over a couple of nights. But
so now you're up to your eyeballs in gluten-free pasta.
Well, no, because we don't normally have bread at home to try and keep our environment free of wheat. So I've had plenty of bread here.
That's good. Okay. I'm having my fill of bread while I can.
Yeah, that's it. And so I did.
What are your gluten-free bread options? Are they any good?
They're getting better. There's a few, and it's kind of depends. Actually, some stuff we had the other week was really good, because it can be quite cakey. Like it's
Well, that's not bread. That's cake.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I mean. Like you think about cake, and that's what it's like. But we had some the other week was quite good, and they're getting better all the time.
So what you're saying is you can't have your bread and eat it too?
No, well, it can be, can be pretty good sometimes. It's a bit of a journey, I think, to find really good gluten-free bread. But when you find it, And the other thing is like, usually if it's toasted, it's pretty good. It's when it's not. It's trying to find that equivalent bread that's not being toasted, just bread for bread's sake, that's difficult. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. The struggles
but there are some
that we live in.
Good, like, gluten-free pizza bases can be really good. There's quite a lot of gluten-free things that are actually really quite good. And then for us, as I said, it's been a long time. So we've got a certain amount of go-to meals that we can cook at home that, most people can, eat. So, yeah.
Okay.
But
did you click on that link I sent you?
What?
You don't have to have had. No, I'm just trying to work out because we've got two people that consistently have been watching. We had 3 or 4. We've got a great audience here on the Fun with Zoom.
I've just been told my Woolworths order is here, and I'm like, that's funny. My Woolworths order was last week.
Is that an old email or an old message, or
I think it was an old email.
Is it on repeat?
I don't know.
Got to eat it all again.
Oh. Wow. So another person I know that's in lockdown, and I wondered this, has said they had a visit from DHHS today and the Australian Army, making sure that they were in isolation.
Oh, right. And before they were visited, did Woolworths send them a email?
No, I don't think so. But I was wondering whether I was going to get a visit,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we do have to do the right thing. We should be anyway.
That's why I'm here.
Fair call.
That's why. But a friend of mine just said, they've been checked up on. So they must have been checked up on by, I don't know whether it was 2 visits or whether it was DHHS and the Army at the same time. So there you go. Interesting.
Wow. There you go.
Well, I see the link that you sent me.
Yeah, you don't have to click on it. It's not going to tell you anything new. I just was curious whether you had.
Well, it says fun in lockdown.
Yeah. Well, you're in lockdown. Well, I mean, we're all in lockdown to a degree. You're in quarantine to lockdown.
There we go. Anyway, yes, only 2 days to go. It's going to be good to go home. That's for sure.
Well, you're almost there. You're almost there. You can do it.
Yeah.
So.
2 days, but then I've got to kind of get home. I've got to pack up my stuff, get home, and then I've got to prepare for 2 days of filming. Straight back into it.
Right. No rest for the wicked.
No. So I'm kind of It's good, but at the same time, it's just like, right, I've got to clean everything up, pack everything up. I've got to get home, just kind of get back into that, and then come back out and then do 2 days of filming. And then, so it's just, I don't know. In some ways, well, I have to go home anyway because all my gear's at home. So, yeah.
But you'll be able to drive at least, and you could say
Oh,
it's
yeah.
part of the work that you have to do.
I was kind of thinking I could stay here and just go from, but I can't. I've got to go and pull all the gear out, check all the gear, get it.
You can learn more of the piano.
Yeah, I've got to go and get it all. Anyway.
No, you'll probably want time at home anyway.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I won't, because I won't have time. I'll just have to get home, get all the equipment out, check everything through, make sure everything's right, get everything loaded. It's going to be go, you know.
Oh,
So I've sort of been like sitting here for 14 days or more, and now, and then it's just going to be go.
And it's funny being in lockdown for so long, because now really, when was it? Mid-March, something like that.
Yeah.
Like to find the energy to go and just work a normal day is actually kind of a whole new mental ball game.
Well, like our days are often, 10, 12, 14-hour days. And so when we were filming, which were about 12-hour days, the other guys are going longer than I was. And I remember that first couple of days, I was like, wow, I'm feeling a bit, worn, because it's just been so long between shoots with that long, you kind of get to the end of it and go, wow, I'm really pretty bushed actually. And normally you get battle hardened to that, but no, I was like, I'm feeling it. So
I always remember when we would do Dancing with the Stars, you'd start off the first week and you'd walk away like you were, particularly after doing pedestal or Steadicam, I'm sure, you'd walk away like you were crippled, like get up on Monday morning after a Sunday show and be like, I can't move.
Well, I always remember thinking, like, you do a 12-hour day, because it's a 14-hour day, you do 12 hours, and then at the very end, after 2 long days and 12 hours beforehand, that's when you've got to be at your best.
Oh yeah, exactly. After a really long day, when you've done nothing for the last 2 hours, apart from you've had lunch, you've done one final rehearsal, then you have dinner, so you're all hopped up on food, ready to sleep.
That's right. Just switch on then and be at your absolute peak. And just remember, 10 dancers with, a dozen shots with split-second reframes in between everything else that was live to air.
Yeah, exactly. And also even just listening to the judges, like I know for you had hostings and stuff to think about. That was a bit of a quieter time for me, but I'd get into that judges and I'm just sitting there like just peeked out of my brain going, where's the next judge? Bang, bang, trying to get to the shots as quickly as possible.
Oh, yeah. Gosh. Well, even that, well, I think the other thing about that is, you have to just kind of switch on, don't you? And then you get yourself up to that point. I always remember thinking, you get into a commercial break and, it's like 3 minutes and you're like, oh, luxury, 3 minutes, wow. I've got 3 minutes to look at my shots for the next segment with 2 dance numbers, 2 hostings, coming out of a break. You're like, I just got to
get yourself in position, work out the fact that the lighting's not quite what it was on the night, so you've got to make little adjustment.
3 minutes. Oh, it's just, luxury. 3 minutes. Yeah, I think that, and it was always that thing at the end of the night when you get home and you're like, even though you've done, you've been in the studio for 14 hours, not to mention you've probably, been up for 2 hours beforehand, another hour before you kind of get home or whatever. So, you're looking at a 16, 17-hour day, and then you get home and you're like, well, I can't just go straight to sleep yet,
No, because my brain is just buzzing out of its head. And I
Yeah.
would always watch the shows back and wanting to
Yeah.
try and
Yeah.
learn something too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got
Crazy.
crazy hands at the moment.
Oh. Look at crazy yawning.
Yeah, it's starting to get. It's 9 o'clock. It's almost time for matron to call.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's right. Matron put me to bed. Yeah.
Matron's not very well at the moment, I'm sorry to say.
Good.
Did you say good?
No, that's not good. Yeah. So anyway, lockdown. Hopefully, and my wife said to me, she said, "What if it happens again?" I was just like, "Oh." Well, honestly, the truth is that that's a real possibility of moving forward on shoots or any work. That
What else are you going to be doing?
I'm just like, it could be any type of work, any type of employment. If someone ends up testing positive, well, that's it. You're off into 14 days of isolation, and that's what I was like. That's just the reality of it now.
The work I've been doing, which has involved live streaming, basically, you've got to get a permit for every single day too. I don't know whether you were able to get one that covered the entire run of show.
Yeah.
But so the poor person that has to, first of all, get permission from the right people, make sure it's all written up correctly, make sure the right times and dates are on it, then make sure it's signed, then make sure they've got one on hand. That's just in case you travel to work and you get stopped.
Yeah.
A lot of extra paperwork involved.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's right. I had multiple permits for multiple different shoots, but that's all going to have to get redone, which I've just written down because I've forgotten to check that out. But yeah, it's going to be.
Well, we don't find out till Sunday what's happening, or is it Monday?
Oh, I think everyone's aware that something's going to happen.
Yeah, but what you don't.
This is how they do it. They just to soften the blow. There's like a little leak of information. Just let it filter out.
Fair enough. But I mean, we have got the state of emergency powers now. I don't want to get political. I don't want to get anyone angry and upset.
As far as the whispers that I've heard, it'll be another 2 weeks.
Yeah. So that's going to affect stuff that I've got booked in.
Yeah. So, well, whatever. Come this far.
It's like a marathon.
It's
not that I've ever run a marathon.
It's like I don't know whether this is true or not, but I've heard that apparently the guys that train for SAS, they do things like that where they give them a task and they'll go, right, you have to run, for whatever 12 hours up that hill, and then they do but mentally, and you've got to carry your pack, you've got to run for 12 hours with no food and no sleep or whatever. And they do, and they run for 12 hours, and then they get there, and one of their drill sergeants is there, and they're like, I've made it. And they're like, no, you've got another 2 hours to go. And they're like, but I was told, no. So they keep changing the goalposts because apparently mentally it makes you stronger, because what happens is you set yourself those parameters and you go, well, I've got, this from here to here. But then when you get there and they go, sorry, it's there, a lot of people go, oh, no, I can't handle it. But to toughen it up, they go, all right, we're going to move it, the goalpost on you, and you've just got to suck it up and move forward.
And I think it's funny because probably the training we've had in television has done that for us in some ways, where
the end isn't the end, is it? The end is when it ends. The end isn't a time frame. You don't finish at 5 o'clock. You finish when the job's done.
Yeah, so you might end up with an extra hour or two, on top of the
The computer breaks down. It's 8.
Yeah.
You walk out of there. You walk out of there at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you say, "I'm sorry, honey. I know I was supposed to be home at 7 for dinner."
Yeah, but there's nothing you can do about it, and apart from
give yourself over to the machine.
Give yourself over to the machine and hope that there's understanding there that you haven't actually been out all night. No, honey, I wasn't. I was at work. It was very dull. It was very boring.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I think well, look, that's the whisper, another 2 weeks. So,
okay.
If that's what happens, that's what happens. And we just, suck it up and move on.
Well, as I say, don't put on a rubber unless you want to do something. And
Rob Pethridge just said, "Are you guys Zooming?"
Oh yeah, he wants to come in. Do you want to say hello, or we
bring him in?
Bring him in. All right, he's admitted he's coming in.
I sent the invite to a few people to see if they wanted to drop in.
Oh yeah, great. Hello, Rob. His video's there. I can't hear him at the moment. Oh, here we will probably hear him in just a moment.
No, he's dropped out.
Howdy.
Hello, Robbie. How you going?
Hello. I've been at the front door waiting. Not let me in.
You're on YouTube.
Sorry, no, I didn't see that you're there.
We're streaming to YouTube.
I'm here now. Hello.
Yeah, you're live on YouTube as well as being part of the Zoom. So don't say anything against any government or lockdown or Trump or whoever the other guy is.
The Russians.
Or the Russians or the Chinese.
Yep.
Or anyone in the industry.
The Wombles. They will get you.
Why am I on YouTube? Do I have people watching this?
You do.
Well, you've got three people. And 2 of those are probably Wazza and I.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're just
trying to. They've dropped off since I've jumped on.
Yeah.
I've got someone else there. I've got someone else there at the moment. They're checking. They're here because of you, Hansel.
How's the MG going?
Yeah, I don't know. It's he found some more pieces the other day, which he said he couldn't, were lost and we'd have to buy some. And I said, "Oh, I'm pretty sure they're there." The guy said they were there. Anyway, a month later, he goes, "Those pieces?" He said, "Yeah, I found them." So, yeah, that's a good thing. A couple little pieces which I thought were lost, I'd have to buy, have turned up. Basically, just waiting for panel beating and sandblasting.
Yeah.
Oh, did you have a crash? Did you?
So that's a big decision.
He's bought a car. He's restoring a MGA.
Oh, a different one to the one you had previous.
Yeah, an older one.
I didn't think you could get an older one.
Yeah, older one.
Yeah. The classic.
We're going to be pretty light-hearted, Rob. So you're in.
Yeah, you can do it.
You're in good company, is what I was going to say.
And what did you get up to today?
Yeah, no, it's nothing really. I dropped some keys off
That's exciting.
regarding a settlement, and
Oh, I thought you were talking about regarding a bowl.
yeah, it was a bit weird.
What do you mean regarding settlement?
I
He
sold
can't go into it.
Sorry?
my property.
Oh, what, you sold it?
I sold my apartment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in
Wow.
Northcote. A little. Yeah.
I didn't know that was on the cards.
Yeah, I just said fuck it. Yeah, well, I just did it on the sly, off market.
Did you get what you wanted?
Anyway,
You did. Good.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
yeah, I did. Yeah,
Oh,
it was weird. I mean, we all want a little bit more, but I put a price in, and someone came to the party.
wow.
Anyway,
That's
one
great.
less thing I have to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How's work for
but
you?
I just wanted to go back there, and I wanted to go back there and just
Sorry, Rob. There's a little bit of
work for me
delay,
is
obviously.
not good.
Okay. Yep. Continue on.
How many seconds? How many seconds delay you reckon it is?
I reckon we're about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, nothing on the horizon.
Sunday footy show.
Oh yeah.
But that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
At least you know which day that's on.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah,
That helps with
yeah.
planning out your week, doesn't it? What day is it again?
It's actually harder than you think because you just forget you got to go to work because you just don't have work.
Yeah.
And you just got to really remind yourself.
Well, you're trying to kill time and you're trying to kind of maintain some kind of mental stability. And then suddenly that's all taken away from you because you've got to go to work. And then you know that, okay, I've gone to work. Now I have to return to just trying to remain sane.
Yeah. True.
So sorry to put it so bluntly.
Well, I've been like, yeah.
But
no, it's the same.
No, it's true.
Isolation, it's like you take your foot off the gas, and you just kind of, I don't know. There's no real. It's nothing, particularly when you're on your own. I think there's no drive. There's no push. I don't know. It's just like you're just kind of coasting through the day. I mean, I'm still getting stuff done, and I'm still getting up and getting stuff done, but it's just. I don't know. There's just, you kind of don't feel like you've got anything really driving you forward.
There's no momentum.
No.
Yeah.
No. It just sort of
don't expect momentum.
Crazy.
Floating. It's in limbo.
I think our greatest hope is the tennis at the moment.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Someone said March. Did I hear that?
For the tennis. I don't know. I haven't heard any dates.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't
Got
heard
pushed
dates.
back.
I haven't heard dates for the tennis either.
I know they're.
I mean,
but
yeah, they were thinking.
it's like, well, yeah. I mean, they'll be doing everything they can to try and make it happen.
I guess the reality is they can't actually think about having the emergency powers kick into effect when they've got so many people employed and in the country, and that might be detrimental to them being able to plan. So you might be right, Rob.
Wow. I mean, yeah. I can't see them having spectators.
What about Tokyo Olympics? Come on, all the three of us were going.
Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about that.
Not me.
Oh, you weren't going?
You weren't going.
No, I didn't get the invite. No.
Ah.
I don't know what happened. It must have been that tour of London. You and I, Lukey, they just they haven't let me back in since.
No, well, I think I was the only one that played up on that particular. If Wazza was going to put me under the bus, or at least on it and
We
throwing
gave
up.
it a good shake.
Was that the
Oh
night?
yeah, no. It was the same night, Rob, that you and I went out.
That was the.
So Rob and I went out all day, and then we met up with you, and we ended up in Soho. But yeah, how did you get home, Rob?
He doesn't know.
Taxi.
Oh,
That's what we ended up having to do.
oh man, did we have an adventure?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I did love though in the morning. Do you remember the text we got in the
Oh
morning?
yeah, I haven't been back since.
Who, me?
I think a few of us got it from Dave.
No, I don't remember. I got home and then got on a bus and went to work.
Oh, you had day shifts. So we all had afternoon shifts, so we could sleep in. But I don't know if you got the text, Rob. I certainly got it saying, "Does anyone know if Steve Geyer is still alive?"
Oh, actually, no. I think I had a.
Oh, it rings a bell. Yeah.
I can't remember.
That was so. London was so good. What a great games.
That was a good games, and that was kind of the night of all nights, I think.
Great one. You know, that was good. Although we did have a good time in Rio.
I kicked you off, Lukey. I started it for you.
You kicked things off, and then you left me. You went off with your mate, and then I went off with Woz and why can't I think of anyone's name at the moment? Who do we meet up with? Who was with you?
Nat.
Natalie.
And Beck.
And I don't know, some other people.
Yeah.
You know, we went to a few places and then we ended up in that. We went to this underground bar that just plays 80s music, but they serve all the drinks in teapots.
Yeah.
And it was a lot.
Except I think I was given the drink that was supposedly for someone else that had been, I think it was either all the red that I had during the day, or I'd actually had a rowie put in there or something.
Oh, so you had a specially altered drink someone gave you.
Yeah, because it knocked me for 6.
Right. No, I remember being there, but yeah, and then trying to get home that night.
Being on the bus outside Trafalgar Square. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know whether Tokyo will go ahead. I mean, geez.
Oh, Clarkey was pretty adamant that it would when I spoke to him, but that was a while ago. Yeah. So I haven't got any info. But yeah,
it's a big event to try and pull together.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, geez, I don't know how.
We'll see.
And our Prime Minister stepped aside, so whoever jumps on that grenade, whoever jumps on that potato.
Okay.
Are you saying that he has stepped aside, or he's just stepped aside from dealing with the Olympics?
No, he's no longer he's stepping down as their president.
Oh, really?
Ah,
That was on the
right.
news a couple of days ago.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
For health reasons.
Right.
So obviously they'll have to go to some sort of, I don't know how they nominate another one.
Some kind of election.
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh. Oh, boy.
Oh, interesting.
Mm. Yes, well,
So how many more days was?
2 days. 2 days and I'm free. Jared Marshall had just sent me a message to say that he'd been visited, because he's in lockdown, he'd been visited by the Army and DHHS to check up on him to make sure he's isolating. I don't know who else.
Did he invite him in?
I don't know the protocol.
Come in. I need some visitors.
Exactly. Have you got time to have a cup of tea?
So yeah, but
Tell me about yourself.
yeah, so 2 more days and then I can leave.
I think it's sad. Your piano playing days will be gone.
I know. But as I said, who knows? I might be back here yet. There's one person with it, and then that's it. Lockdown number 2. What? No. So anyway, and I don't know what other production companies have, what sort of protocols have got in place, but I imagine there'll have to be something similar, which is not cheap.
Yeah, and they probably don't have as many masks on theirs as well.
No, exactly. But any of those, I mean, that's the thing with the numbers. Like, if I can't get the numbers down, this sort of stuff's just going to keep happening.
So how do we, again, without getting political and getting weird, how do we help fix this? What do we do?
We get a DeLorean. And we go back to 2019.
I was going to say to 2016.
And we find that bat and we don't let anyone eat it. That's my bat. Give me the bat.
It reminds me of what Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, and he comes running out of the thing and says, "There's bats in my hair." It's okay. I was merely performing a drill.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know how you fix it. DeLorean would definitely work, though. Definitely work.
Yeah, but if you go forward again,
we can't go forward from this point because it doesn't get any better. You've got to go back.
You can only go back.
You've got to go back. It's like we're on the, when he explains about the timeline, we're in an alternate 2020. There's 2 2020s. We're in the alternate 2020 when Biff is the president of the United States. We've got to go back to fix the timeline.
How does that fit in with the hot tub time machine?
Well, you can use whatever method to get back in time you like. You can, hot tub it back there, which sounds quite good. DeLorean back there. There's plenty of different options. Well, how did Bill and Ted do it? The phone box.
Did they go in time though? Or yeah, I guess they did, didn't they?
I think they went in time.
They went all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Doctor Who police box, that would work.
Yeah. Is Bill and Ted's just a rip-off then?
I didn't even think it could be.
Like,
there could be a lawsuit now.
Exactly. What have we done?
It's like that whole Kookaburra sits in the gum tree and don't talk about it.
Well, what do you think? Oh, really? Don't talk about it?
You don't want any more lawsuits to happen.
No, I think it's happened. I think it's.
No, it's happened. It has happened.
I think the kookaburra is like
Blown the
dead
coop.
in the water.
Yeah.
No more laughing.
Oh. No, gosh, I don't know. It's certainly made for an interesting year. We're booked in to go to Tassie, later
I
on.
thought you were going to say therapy.
No, well, that too. And, like Elise has had her heart set on going to Tassie. Oh, just want to go to Tassie. And I kept saying, oh, I don't know. But anyway, that's what she's got her fingers crossed that, at the end of the year, essentially, that they'll, basically open up the borders. But I don't know.
Well, it's December.
Yeah, right.
December 1st.
It is now.
Yeah, wow. Fingers crossed. But yes, that's it. It's just sort of like, I think everyone will be looking forward to a break. It'll be like as soon as the borders are open, all the Victorians will just be like, I'm going, where are you going? I don't know. Australian lighting, I don't care. I'm just got to go somewhere, What are you doing? I don't know. Get out of my way. I've got to go somewhere.
Anywhere but Victoria.
Yeah, you're just like.
And that will be the cure. So suddenly the virus will be eradicated.
Because there will be no one here.
No, exactly. The government will come in from China and take over.
Yeah.
But they were doing that anyway. So
I don't know him.
Let's don't mention.
Frank Collar. I didn't say anything about Chinese government.
Frank Collar. I do that one. I use it all the time. Frank Collar. Are you talking to me on a cell phone?
Got a few wires crossed there.
Yeah.
This is Max Headroom.
This delay is killing me.
Yeah. It's funny is how it's really, the other ones don't have any delay, but yours does.
Yeah, no, you seem pretty good, but Rob in his swanky house has got terrible internet.
Now I know what happened to my Commodore 64.
It's now running the internet. The Commodore 64 is bat free. It can't get any viruses.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the 64, what a machine. Woo-hoo!
Yeah. That could stream like nothing else.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, well. Well.
Yeah, maybe we should call it a night before one of us, namely me, says something inappropriate. Or we have more crosstalk.
Oh. I think I'm feeling a bit zonked.
It's all that work you've been doing.
Well, I did do a good job on the driveway. Let's see
what have you been doing on it?
Cleaning it, just give me something to do. So the driveway is like that. And you can see how dirty it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's like you've had Dave Seraphin over.
That's it. I pressure hosed it. Got all the muck off it. So that's half. That's the difference between half done and half not done.
Wow.
So I just do a little bit of, gives me a reason to
huge difference.
Go outside and do something,
You just get Rob over in his new car. He'll sort that out for you.
No. His new car doesn't have any wheels at the moment. It's just a roll. It's just a
That's
shell.
a long way off.
It's just a shell.
At least you sold your apartment. Now you can fully fund it.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the silver MGB I sent you today? Did you like the race stripes on it?
Yeah, it's not as good as that Porsche. That Porsche was just, I rang up those guys who did that Porsche.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah. Gil,
I'll show Luke a photo of the.
Yeah, absolutely. It's out of my price range, so you don't need to worry about me stealing it from underneath you. Well, we might call that a night. What have we got? We've been on air for I can't even find where the time is. It was around here somewhere.
Send me that photo. I don't think you sent me that photo. Is that a more recent?
Oh, right.
That's not the most recent
heaps.
one. That's still on the chassis there.
I was back when he started it.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's before he took it off.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, chaps. Well, it was good to have a little chat.
Yeah. Well, keep it real. And I might say goodbye to, well, I was going to say YouTube, whoever's watching, but I think it's just you and me, was.
Excellent.
So goodbye to the live stream. Thanks for joining.